Seinfeld cast members who have sadly died.
It's your son! Now I know where I saw him. He stole my marble ride.
My son never stole anything. He's a good boy.
Over the course of 9 seasons and 180 episodes, Seinfeld became one of the shows that defined the 1990s.
They look good. I like the other one too. I've liked about 5 of them.
Well, it's a tough decision.
It also left an indelible mark on television comedy in the wake of its controversial finale in May of 1998.
I've never seen a beautiful lady reading the guide.
Created by Jerry Seinfeld and Larry David, and based on a fictionalized version of the former, Seinfeld was deliberately a show about nothing. Still, its focus on the superficial and mundane never stopped it from asking the questions that really matter, like, can a person die from an odor? What makes something sponge-worthy? And can we have soup? The answers: don't be ridiculous, it's complicated, and no soup for you. Sadly, since Seinfeld has been off the air for decades now, we've lost a number of Jerry and Company's old friends and nemesis in real life.
George, you are looking at the new head scout of the New York Mets.
Don't you just hate being out of the loop? Here are the Seinfeld cast members who have sadly died. Before starting the video, be sure to subscribe to our channel to never miss out on any of our videos. Number 10, Ruthie Cohen. In many ways, Monk's Cafe in Seinfeld is as much a character as the actors on screen, and its human embodiment is Ruthie Cohen, the cashier who appears in a whopping 101 episodes of the show. Uncredited and unnamed, Ruthie might not always get a speaking line, but during the show's 9 seasons, she appeared in the most episodes besides the core cast of Jerry, Elaine, George, and Kramer. Her most memorable episode might be the one where George accuses her of stealing a $20 bill he still had in his own wallet. Actress Ruthie Cohen made a career of extra work on shows like The Golden Girls and Murder, She Wrote, with her main success as Seinfeld's most prolific background star. In 2008, Cohen died of a heart attack at 78. Number 9, Jerry Stiller, Frank Costanza.
You can keep us out of Florida. We're moving in lock, stock, and barrel. We're going to be in a pool.
If you want to understand George Costanza's particular damage, we need not look much farther than his apoplectic father, Frank, whose impotent rages have been passed down to his dysfunctional and underachieving son. From his obsession with TV Guide, to his creation of an alternative December holiday called Festivus that violently combats the cheer of Christmas and Hanukkah, Frank Costanza is almost in a class of his own amid the routine madness of Seinfeld. Frank was such a huge presence in Seinfeld, it's hard to believe he was only in 24 episodes. Jerry Stiller passed away in his sleep in May 2020 at the age of 96, having spent the last 60 years of his life making people laugh, from his early appearances on The Ed Sullivan Show to Zoolander. Number 8, Barney Martin, Morty Seinfeld.
What does that mean? It means if you're for the motion, you're against Morty.
So why don't you say that?
Hey, I'm running the meeting.
If you think so.
While Phil Bruns originally played Jerry's dad, Morty Seinfeld, for his first 2 appearances on Seinfeld, it's Barney Martin that Seinfeld fans remember when thinking of the character, since he played him for 19 episodes. George and Frank are clearly related, but the apple has fallen far from the tree with Morty and Jerry. The two have very little in common. That doesn't stop them from having ridiculous conflicts. A detective turned actor, Barney Martin died at 82 of cancer in Studio City, California in 2005. He remains best known for his role as Jerry's dad on Seinfeld, despite an otherwise storied acting career. Number 7, Richard Hurd, Mr. Wilhelm.
I wanted to get fired. George, you are looking at the new head scout of the New York Mets.
If George Costanza was insufferable even to his best friends, he was exponentially worse at work. From sleeping with his assistants and offering them unauthorized raises to napping under his desk instead of doing his job, George was a nightmare employee. No one was more baffled or unsettled by George's unruly work behavior than his boss at Yankee Stadium, Mr. Matt Wilhelm. In many ways, Mr. Wilhelm feels like one of the show's few examples of a conscience, until he was kidnapped by a cult, all thanks to Richard Hurd's empathetic portrayal. Hurd even made a final appearance in the series finale, along with Mr. Steinbrenner. Hurd had been a familiar face in both movies and television until his death in May of 2020 from cancer complications at the age of 87. Number 6, Ian Abercrombie, Mr. Pitt.
But these false accusations will not deter us. We will annex Poland by the spring at any cost!
Wretched though Elaine Beans might be in her personal life, she demonstrates professionalism at work, at least compared to George. Unfortunately, she has to contend with bosses who are all insane to varying degrees. This brilliant comedic reversal makes Elaine one of the most fully rounded of these all-around awful characters. One of the places where we see her struggle the most is in her role as assistant to Justin Pitt, one of Doubleday Publishing's top executives. Played by British actor Ian Abercrombie, Mr. Pitt's idiosyncrasies almost put Kramer's to shame. Pitt is one of Elaine's biggest complaints in more than 7 episodes in which he appears. Abercrombie passed away from kidney failure complications in January 2012 at 77 years old. Number 5, Sandy Barron, Jack Klompus.
And unfortunately, he possesses none of these qualities.
He's joking.
While the majority of Seinfeld takes place inside Jerry's Manhattan apartment, many of the show's comedy of errors take place in the Del Boca Vista retirement community in Florida, where Jerry's parents live. Though they're supposed to be enjoying their golden years and relaxing in the sun, nobody at Del Boca Vista got this memo, and certainly not Jack Klompus, Morty Seinfeld's main nemesis. Played by another comedy and Broadway legend, Sandy Barron, for 6 episodes, Jack Klompus's general suspicion of the entire Seinfeld family goes to some pretty dark depths, culminating in Klompus accusing Morty of stealing. Sandy Barron died in February 2001 at the age of 64 after battling emphysema for a number of years. Number 4, Daniel von Bargan, Mr. Kruger. Most of George Costanza's bosses expected far more from him than he was ever able to provide. But not Mr. Kruger, George's beleaguered boss at Kruger Industrial Smoothing. He mirrors George's lackadaisical manner in so many ways. Played by character actor Daniel von Bargan, Mr. Kruger has a few iconic plot lines, even though he's only in 4 Seinfeld episodes. Kruger's first major story involves a trip to the beach with his family and a resulting photograph that George mucks up completely. His most memorable appearance arguably comes when George tries to convince him that his fictional charity, the Human Fund, is real. Tragically, von Bargan passed away in March 2015 at the young age of 64 after a long battle with diabetes complications, mental illness, and a tragic suicide attempt. Number 3, Elmarie Wendell, Helena. Every single character in Seinfeld is a certified drama queen, whose unnecessary shenanigans take the story to bizarre world and back. But the most absurd of them all might be Cosmo Kramer. His wacky entrances into Seinfeld's apartment have an entire category of their own in Seinfeld's behind-the-scenes commentary, Notes About Nothing. In season 4, Kramer gets annoyed with his gang of friends in New York and decides he wants to go to Los Angeles to become an actor. Played by Elmarie Wendell, Helena is a send-up of Hollywood queen Norma Desmond in Sunset Boulevard, stealing the show as she descends the stairs with her sometimes inappropriate commentary. Wendell might have been better known for her turn as Mrs. Dubsek on Third Rock from the Sun, but Seinfeld fans will still be saddened to hear of her passing in July 2018 of undisclosed causes. She was 89. Number 2, Sam Lloyd, Ricky. In Elaine's extensive catalog of men who have become obsessed with her, Ricky is one of the creepiest. Played by Sam Lloyd, nephew of Christopher Lloyd, Ricky becomes fixated on Elaine over 2 Seinfeld episodes. When we first meet Ricky, he's sitting next to Elaine on the subway and offers her a highlighter to help with the TV guide she's reading. His intensity freaks Elaine out. In a rush to get away from him, Elaine forgets her magazine on the subway seat. Only it's not her magazine, but Frank Costanza's. He's none too pleased when Ricky stalks Elaine to the Costanza house, having made a bizarre bouquet out of Frank's TV guide. Unfortunately, Scrubs actor Sam Lloyd was only 55 when he was diagnosed with a brain tumor and lung cancer. He succumbed to his illnesses in May 2020 at the age of 56. Number 1, Billy Ree Wallace, Nana. You'd think after so many runs on air and in reruns, Seinfeld would bring us a little closer to understanding how Jerry's brain works. But as we see with the Nana subplot, his behavior remains a mystery. played by Billy Ree Wallace for 3 episodes. Jerry's Nana is minding her own business when Jerry suddenly decides to cash all the $10 checks she's been sending him for his birthday for many, many years. Unfortunately, Nana discovers the bank isn't there anymore. The neighborhood is scarily run down, and she's even threatened by a hoodlum. Oy vey. Like many of her Seinfeld co-stars, Wallace was a well-known character actress who appeared in shows like Mad About You, as well as films like Albert Brooks' Mother. In March 1999, Wallace passed away from respiratory failure and emphysema at the age of 73.